welcome. This is episode 7 of our Insta Live session series with me, Tanvi from Tanvision. If you're interested in personal development, in growth, in leadership, achievement, and living a happier and healthier life, then this is the perfect show for you. In this series, we discuss topics that stem out of this main core topic of V.M.G, value, mind, and goal. This is a unique life manner developed by human behavior specialist, Mr. Ahmed Fadhul, cognitive psychologist and author, Dr. Mohammed Almoathen, and our guest expert today, Dr. Ahmad Al-Hasawi, who is a scientist and global speaker in body healing mechanism. Just a quick side note, if you're watching us on YouTube, all the information and the necessary links and tags are available on the description. Hello, Dr. Nada, how are you?
Hello, Mrs. Tempi. Thank you very much for the inspiring introduction. And also, I would like to express my gratitude for hosting this important interview regarding the healing, which is very important, deep topic, the healing of coronary heart disease.
Yes, thank you very much. As you said that our topic is healing coronary heart disease. Let's dive in straight to our first conversation. What exactly is healing, doctor?
Healing is meant by dealing directly with the causes of diseases in general, chronic diseases. And that is mainly could be psychological, because all the diseases are caused by psychological issues. And there are two main issues, which is the activation of spirit and dealing and managing mind. And very important to deal with mind in a way that it will activate human's highest value, so he can really be inspired and activating his future, rather than ruminating and keep repeating and thinking about the past. This is very important. The whole story here is the reflect of these issues on the body and mainly the brain. So the brain will send signals to the adrenal glands, which will secrete the chronic hormones, and the stress hormones. And this is actually how the disease is developed because of the chronic or the stress hormones, adrenaline and noradrenaline and cortisol.
So, doctor, we are talking about healing now. When you talk about I'm sure there's a difference between healing and treatment. Can you please elaborate on that, please?
Yes, a huge difference. Actually, some people they talk about healing, they actually talk about treatment. Once we talk about the material and we deal with the diseases in terms of matter, and it's okay to deal in this way, but we need to understand what's the difference is treatment. Taking medication, also the medicinal, the herbs, medicinal herbs and plants, also the massages, this types of what you call the acupuncture, also the energy therapy, all are different sorts of treatments. And it's okay to deal with this, important. So we can deal with the different types of treatments. At the same time, we need to activate healing, and this is very important. Actually, treatment is temporary. If we only rely on treatment, temporary, and also it's only managing the symptoms. We are not dealing with the real cause. We are not balancing the real causes of the disease. So we will get rid of disease and set ourselves free from disease. And they need also constant administration. We need to, patient that having, for example, diabetes, he needs to administrate and take the medication through his life. And also to the application itself, because people, they get also addicted to, for example, energy therapy. They go back to stress and they don't know what's the real cause of the stress. And then by the time they would rely and be addicted on the energy therapy. So here's like direct treatment, it's like dealing with body. But healing is dealing with the spirit and the mind. And we people, actually humans, are actually spirits living in the beautiful body.
Doctor, when we're talking about the cardiovascular system of our body, can you please tell us the main function of the heart, how it works?
Yes. Actually, I will start first with the physiological function of hearts. This is well known and it's in science. Heart is considered, of course, is integral part, very important part of the cardiovascular system. And the cardiovascular system consists of heart, blood vessels, including arteries. Arteries are, when we see the arteries here, they are the red, the red blood vessels carrying the oxygen. Veins, they are the blue. We can see the blue. They are darker blood vessels. And capillaries, they are very small, tiny blood vessels. They are inside the tissues, nourishing the tissues. And also the blood. And blood's very important that the normal distribution of blood in the body is very important, because blood carrying nutrients, carrying oxygen, and taking out carbon dioxide and waste products. Now, the heart itself, now as as a part of cardiovascular system, heart is a muscular organ. It's a muscle. So that actually pumps the blood throughout the body. And that is by carrying the nutrients from systemic circulation. When we talk about systemic circulation, it's like the circulation to which the food or the nutrients absorb from the GI, the gastrointestinal tract, the digestive system, into the blood. So actually, the heart's helping to pump the blood, so it will help in distribution of the nutrients throughout the body to different cells. Now, about the location, this is very important. By being in the center of the chest, that is the location of heart. And it has the size of a closed fist. That's the size of the heart. Being in the middle of the two lungs, that is how we can imagine the heart. So it is like this is very important in terms of oxygen and carbon dioxide, as by dealing at the level of the pulmonary circulation, because it is related to the lungs. So here, when we inhale oxygen, it goes to the lungs, and then through the arteries, because arteries are, as I said, they are red because we have hemoglobin in the blood. So once the hemoglobin is rich in the oxygen, it will be red. Once there is low oxygen level and there is more carbon dioxide, it will be blue. It will be darker. So we can see it blue here. So what happened, actually, the arteries carrying the oxygen to the heart, and heart will pump it throughout the body. And then once it's reached to the different cells, actually cells will use the oxygen in what is known as the respiratory chain. That is is a chain for production of energy by using oxygen from nutrients. So there is very long pathways when we consume carbohydrates, fats, and proteins. The cells actually, different pathways will be underwent by different cells. And then what will happen that at the end, the production of energy from these different forms of energy, so a source of energy, where it needs oxygen. So that's why we need oxygen. It's very important. And then the product will be carbon dioxide out of this pathway. The product. So the products needs to be we need to get rid of oxygen, carbon dioxide, because it's waste product. So it will be carried again by the veins back to the heart, and heart will pump it, of course, back to the lung, and lung will get rid of it. That is the exhale.
Yeah.
So it's very integral part of the heart. It's very important. Of course, this is the physiological function. Now, if we talk about heart in terms of, I would say it maybe could be how now we need to look at heart from even the scientific understanding, which actually now has a shift connecting matter, which is physiology, and energy-wise. This is very important, or we can call it spiritual science. Now, heart is the first organ that is formed in the embryo. This is very important, even before the brain. So it means that this first formed organ in the embryo means it's very important, as it pumps once the spirit enter the embryo. This is important. So here is different understanding. Even in the history and human civilization, they have different view in the heart. Consider it as center of life, not the brain. Because even the science, they thought before that the brain is the center. Is the very yes, I believe in brain. Brain actually controls organs functions in our body. But what is actually number one? This is very important. Now, number one is the heart So from the heart, you control functions. That needs really deep understanding. Because if you are a spirit in a body, you are not a machine. You just function and that's it. And maybe you live under stress and you need to do things you don't want to do them because, it's different, we are not machines. So it means that we need first to listen to our hearts. And then by understanding and allow this and really know what's our, the purpose of our existence. This is number one. That's why our heart pumps.
It is the first sign of life, the heart.
Yes, thank you very much. Yes. Yeah. So there is a reason for everything, even our existence.
Yeah, true.
So if we listen to this, to heart, this is the first, spark of healing, I would say.
True.
So maybe later on we will just talk of this deeply.
Yes, for sure. But let's look into a little bit more on the scientific side first.
Yes.
Our focus of the talk is healing coronary heart disease. So can you please define what is CHD?
Yeah. Coronary heart disease is the most common heart condition, where actually the major blood vessels that's actually nourishing the blood muscle, which is in the heart itself, the heart muscle, struggle to send enough blood carrying oxygen and nutrients because it is blocked. And it's well-known science that the cholesterol deposit cause this blockage in the blood vessels that actually very important in nourishing the heart. That is called the plaques. And also the inflammation because of this narrowing in the blood vessels also playing important part. And the main symptoms because of this is the shortening in breathing, and also there will be chest pain, angina, and eventually if it's is untreated and solved, it will end up by heart attack. Some people have this this CHD, but it is not noticed. They could develop this over the years and suddenly they would have the heart attack. So actually the main, cause scientifically is the cholesterol deposits and inflammation. But maybe we can talk deeper about this.
Yes, I mean, I was reading, there are a lot of studies now published online, and they're talking about the common causative factors of having CHD that can be hypertension, even diabetes can lead to CHD. So you said that these are the common causes. What else are what else are the causes that we can get? Hypertension and diabetes is one of the things, but what else can cause common causes?
Actually, the science look at these as the causes of the coronary disease or heart disease because still they don't understand the meaning of chronic stress. To me, CHD is expected since a patient would have the hypertension and diabetes would also develop the CHD because it's like accumulation of different chronic diseases because of chronic stress. So it's like the same thing. It's expected. However, I would consider behaviors because of stress are the main, causes, are the real causes of this disease. And also, if you mention again, if we put all these, causative risk diseases, including the family history and also obesity. Now, obesity is considered now as a chronic disease, obesity now. And also, all these are different causes and different behaviors resulted obesity, craving sugars and fatty food because of the stress, chronic stress. But let me now focus at least on the family history. We talk about family history even with respect different diseases, genes. we talk about genes. We are now people, there is no understanding that we are the genetic engineers of our genes. That is very important. We decide if we want to get the disease or express a disease or not, even if we carry the gene. We are not victims of our genes. We need to understand this. The gene, even if it's there, either it will be expressed or suppressed.
Okay.
Will not express. So again, we talk here about the chronic stress. There is scientific understanding, but still it's not well known about the expression of the genes, those genes that are related to diseases by secretion of chronic stress hormones or the stress hormones, like noradrenaline or norepinephrine, for example. So it depends if you are happy, again, because there is different, by the way, there is new science now known as science of happiness. People specialize in brain, they talk about science of happiness. There is new researches on this, and it's real, it's like evolving kind of science, which is really, I appreciate it, I enjoy it. So here, in the science of happiness, you can actually, release the happiness hormones that which actually, is a result of being happy, of course, and suppress, and there will be no secretion, of course, and activation of the sympathetic nervous system, which is meant by flight or flight. So there will be no secretion of the stress hormones. So it means now it's our choice to express or not express our genes which are related to different diseases. Now, regarding the different factors, again, I would say the main factor of the disposition of the cholesterol and forming these plaques and even the inflammation is because of the inner, the blood vessel itself is damaged. There could be tears. And again, if we talk about the main causes, we'll go back to increasing the blood pressure, the hypertension. We talk about, there are different causes that are everywhere in the internet and everywhere. And even consuming the fat, consuming the deep fried food is one of important causes of damaging the blood vessels, causing the tears inside, which actually will cause the disposition of the cholesterol. So here, I can't say even, the cholesterol is innocent, 100%. But let's talk a little bit about cholesterol, because it's very important topic talk about cholesterol today, which is actually related to the CHD, which is coronary heart disease. Very important. So cholesterol itself is a waxy substance. Why do we have cholesterol? We need to understand this. There should be benefit of having cholesterol in our body. Now, cholesterol has three main purposes in our body. Number one is very important, production of the sex hormones, the testosterone, estrogen. It's very important where it plays a role as a building block in the outer layer of the cells. Okay. So it's a building block in the cell layer or the outer layer. Important to have this, the plasma membrane. Plasma membrane is the outer layer of the cell, because the cell has to have a boundary. So without boundary, there will be no cell. So it's very important. Okay. And it's fatty kind. It's fatty kind of cell of the membrane. We call this phospholipids, and there is also blocks of the cholesterol. So it's very important. Number three, cholesterol formed actually the bile salts. And bile salts, very important in solubilizing the ingested fat. So when we ingest fat, the bile salts will solubilize, will act as a detergent, will solubilize the fat, so the fat will be exposed, and this will have in breaking down the fat by exposing to the enzymatic digestion, enzymes. So here, why? Because enzymes are in the aqueous, watery phase. So the fat won't expose to this digestion unless they are kind of, watery. So actually, the synthesis of the bile salts in the liver, and we know some people really, this will known that it is stored in the gallbladder. So it's very important. So cholesterol has a role in our body. So there is benefit. But what's the real story about cholesterol? We know that there is the good cholesterol and there is the bad cholesterol, the good guy and the bad guy. So here, the good cholesterol is a high density lipoprotein. Now, cholesterol is actually is carried out. It's not like swimming in the blood. It's carried out by particles called lipoproteins. Lipoproteins, particles carrying the cholesterol. So the good cholesterol is carried out by a structure called high density lipoprotein, the particle. So because the high density lipoprotein is carrying cholesterol from blood to the liver, that's why it's good. So getting rid of the cholesterol and eliminate it from blood to the liver. So that's why it's good. And the opposite here is the low density lipoprotein, which is carrying the cholesterol to the blood. So that's why it's cholesterol the same, but different particle. That's why high cholesterol level is bad. The issue about cholesterol is when it forms the plaque because of the injury in the blood vessel. So we go back and see what's the causes of injury blood vessels: craving fatty food, deep fried food. Now, also in the industry, this is very important, is the production of what is known as margarine. Margarine is not good for health. In the industry, they actually produce the margarine in order to increase the shelf life of the oil. Because if you put oil outside the kitchen, you will see it's like turbid. It will have odor, like bad smell. So in industry, to make this oil solid, they add hydrogen to it, and this will form what is known as trans fat. Trans fat is very bad for health because it's associated also with the increasing cholesterol in blood, and still there is researches on this. But I think it could associate. It could cause injury or tear in the blood vessel. People, they are suffer from the chronic stress, they would consume this kind of food. And there is a list of food that has this rich in this trans fat. Also, again, we go back to the high blood pressure, the family history. We go all these, even diabetes, smoking, all this associate also with the damaging the blood vessel.
I was reading, doctor, that there is a very strong association of these predisposing factors of having psychological issues. These psychological issues are also one of the main causes of CHD. I mean, what do you think about that?
Yeah, it's very important here to raise. Thank you very much. This is very important. One of major studies on CHD, which was carried out on 30,000 patients suffering from the same disease, and this is very big study. It took 12 months, and it's called the Inter-Heart study. And those patients from 52 countries, in order to, it's like studying the real causes of this disease, CHD, and actually by collecting the causes, including diabetes, obesity, smoking, also the increasing in cholesterol, plus chronic stress. And again, they would ask the patients, do you suffer from chronic stress? He could say yes or no. He could say, yes, I'm suffering from chronic stress. I'm having too much pressure in my life, and so on. And some patients, they will answer no, because they don't know what's the meaning of this. What do you mean by what's the real understanding of chronic stress? This is important. So by collecting all these factors, as you mentioned, the psychological issues, chronic stress, they found that the odd ratio, and we mean by odd ratio, the incidence probability of having the disease is it's like a number 183. It's like a curve. It's just understanding the numbers. there's comparison. And by having all these factors without the chronic stress, like the people, they don't realize they don't have chronic stress directly, it's like 68. So there is a huge difference between those two. And still, some patients, they can understand and realize that they have chronic stress, and they just, even they inform of this directly. So yes, the chronic stress it's the cause of the CHD, certainly. So here again, the lifestyle. How we can know that we are suffering, people really suffer, like say 95% from chronic stress, and they don't know. From the behaviors, there is signs and behaviors. Number one, we would say people suffering from lack of sleep and anxiety, and also not having balanced food. If you have balanced food, this will be like, spontaneous, should be happen, this is it should be flow. It's a universal flow. People supposed to have, the balanced food, what they really need in their body. So they don't need, craving sugars and fatty food. They would do it normally if they are happy. So not having balanced food, being addicted on the junk food and sugary and deep fried food and so on. Also smoking, this is lifestyle, very important. Lack of exercise, regular exercise, this is also important. These are very important, psychological behaviors and lifestyle that is associated with the CHD. So if we connect these, how we can connect these to the chronic stress, addiction, we can be addicted to the unhealthy food because we suffer from stress. We can be addicted to smoking, and there is different source of addiction, because of chronic stress. Lack of sleep is very important sign, because lack of sleep means there is increase in cortisol, and there is inverse proportional or relation between cortisol and melatonin. So people, they don't have high level of melatonin during the night time. That's why they don't sleep, because it's the opposite. They have high level of cortisol. This is important, because this all will cause what is known as lack of self-entitlement. They don't have feeling of, deservedness, or, the inspiring or the happy life and all this, and they feel a competition because they want to achieve something in their life and they want to be recognized. And all these kind of, painful emotions. That's why here we talk mostly about the deep, understanding in order to activate the healing from the heart diseases in general, CHD and heart disease in general, all chronic diseases. So here again, we connect what is really known as the causes of the heart disease or chronic disease with the behavior, which actually is like shown in order to, it's like acting as relief, from the, or soothing the pain and suffer from chronic stress.
Now we're talking about, Doctor, common causes. We talked about lifestyle. We talked about, the common causative factors. We talked about the psychological factors. I'm sure that there are some real causes as well. So let's dive down into the real causes of CHD.
This is the most inspiring, part to really giving this and enjoy to give this, and really understand it. We need to go back to the real reason, or the reason of our creation. We were created for certain purpose in life, and there is particular purpose in life. And of course, people who really go back to this will activate what is known as the highest value. And that is activation of the spirit, because spirit, again, the heart, and the connection between heart and the brain, or even the harmony, the coherence, is the first, step of healing from CHD. The heart is telling something. The heart is like calling. has a call to do what really inspires you. So we need to listen to our hearts. The mind has to really understand this. So it's like the heart and the brain. Heart is carrying, and in the heart there is spirit, and the brain is actually controlling the body functions. The brain is controlling the heart function. This is a very important. And the mind has to is the link, is the bridge, is in the middle. But from the heart, it can like managing, so from the heart managing the brain. So once we understand that we have our value, universal value, this is very important, we will actually be in relaxed state. We will shift. We will shift, of course. Because we go back to the reason of our creation, we will shift, we do the shift. And by doing this shift, we will balance the sympathetic nervous system. So there will be no fight or flight, no stress inside, no conflict between the heart and brain. So this is the first step. Number two, we need to really have the skills of managing the brain, the mind. Because sometimes the mind can go back to the past and all these events and people who cause suffer for us and pain. And then we will go back sometimes to our old behavior. So we need to be conscious about this. So consciousness actually developed from understanding our purpose in life. Consciousness, when it's developed from this understanding, it will raise and change the old mind. I call raise sometimes, it's like, you know, it's like higher now.
Elevating it.
Elevating it, thank you.
Yes.
So it's like the subconscious now is different. Because what we are talking according to the subconscious, not conscious. Because we have the information, subconscious. But the consciousness actually is like when you contemplate in the deeply in the highest value. That is like theta waves in the brain. This is the shift. This is the waves of the healing. And once you are involved in the highest value, you are still shifting and you are increasing and you are developing and elevating your consciousness. And by this, once it's like you get this idea and you enjoy and you are happy and you practice your highest value, so you will have new information which is negative and positive. This is important. Negative, that is the challenge in the highest value, and positive, achievement in the highest value, which will be downloaded in the subconscious. And then the subconscious, once it's balanced by highest value, you will understand your identity more, you will understand people more, and you will understand the life. So that's why it's the center, the heart center. The highest value is the center of your life. So here, people in this way, they will have no flight or flight, because fight and flight is the cause of the CHD. This is the reason. This is the real reason. And it's like increasing in the chronic stress hormones or the stress hormones, because they are the same. You can imagine this increase once you see a lion. The heart palpitation is the first thing that happens when you see a lion. And also you will also feel the butterfly in your, it's like sensation in your stomach. And also all these signs, increasing in the breath rate, and also the pump of the blood from the internal viscera to the protective limbs, the arms and the legs, is very important even for protection.
But you're talking about the good stress, right? You're not talking about the chronic stress.
Thank you.
This is the good stress.
Yes,
the healthy stress. Yeah, we need that.
If we don't have this, then so there is issue. Means something wrong with us. We need to act or react. Let's say react, because it's a reaction because you protect yourself, protect your body. It's a threatening event here. And, or let's say, it's like a threatening, when you see lions, threatening, life threatening creature.
Situation. Yes.
So it's very important. So once this is healthy, but let's only focus on people talking about chronic stress. Like the lion is there, and they have fears. They live in the past. They live in anger. They don't actually know how to balance the mind in order to set themselves free from all these, emotions. So that's why we need to understand that the main reason of having the CHD is the chronic stress. When you balance the chronic stress, going back to the purpose of your life, managing your mind so you will understand what is the positive out of negative, which is negative and positive always there. So the balance is there, even from the past situations and people. So in this case, you will balance this cause. You will start to the healing actually from the heart disease and CHD. So here it's very important to activate this methodology of, as you mentioned the beginning, V.M.G.
So I mean, we cannot avoid our daily stressors. We cannot completely avoid stress,
Yes.
But it's how we can manage that stress can help protect our heart health. So if as you're saying that if we have our highest value, if we practice our highest purpose in life, and then we can have a much more healthier heart. So if I'm connecting, as we're talking about, we're connecting your heart to your highest purpose, because this is how our life, God gave us the life from the heart. So you should be moving forward from the heart. Listen to your heart first.
Yeah. This is to start with. Yes. First, daily stress is like, so it will not be a stress. Like I think this is more in skills how to manage the normal life. That's life.
Yeah. Everything is negative and positive. Everything comes in pairs.
Thank you.
So it has to be pairs. So how we create balance, it's up to us.
So once we understand this, what you already mentioned, I mean, they will complain about their children, the family, the money issues, many issues are there, the news, all, once they understand this, when they understand the negative and positive, they would consider just normal. This is part of life. This actually, all these events, a long time before. We are not going to change this, because this is it's like a law. It's a universal law. It's there. So negative and positive, death and life, always there. But we need to understand that this is life. So the chronic stress won't be there. Even managing our mind, forgiveness is very important. Gratitude.
Yes.
Live in peace with yourself. This will all be activated by the highest value and by understanding what is mind. So mind doesn't think. It's like a container of thoughts. And all emotions are stored in our body. We need to be conscious about this. So we need to be conscious not to go back to the past unless there is a benefit. The benefit is like healing something in the past, one event. Once you see the negative, you will understand the positive, and understand sometimes people, they would have behaviors of when they actually, the mind is established. The first 7 years of our life, we pictured many of the parents' behaviors and so on. So we need to forgive all this. I think the first thing to be done by this understanding in order to start to heal the CHD. So this is very important. This is the understanding here of how to activate spirit, managing mind, and then this will control. There will be no stress in the brain, and then there is no stress in the brain. You will be relaxed. You will actually activate what is known as parasympathetic nervous system. And again, when we say nervous system, we mean like nerves that actually parasympathetic. They are meant by digest and rest, because there will be a relative increase in parasympathetic nervous system than the sympathetic nervous system once you are activating your highest value and managing your mind. I understand the highest value, number one, you can manage your lifestyle. It will be healthy that will be automatically, because like this is the elixir of life wheel. And there is the, you know, the other wheel, the life wheel. It's different because this is start from the highest value, and then you can, from highest understanding, practicing highest value, which is number one, and then you can go and focus on different areas of life, including health, family, money, you know, spirit, and all these different, you know, areas that needs to be, you know, you need to, not to balance them, let's say, in still you need to focus on highest value, but you need like whatever you need from each area, you can understand and decide. Yes.
Doctor, we hear a lot, you know, like sometimes on the social media or in the or normal, we hear that, oh, this person was quite young, he was going to the gym and he's doing exercise, and suddenly he has a heart attack and he passes on. So what is the relation between your age and your heart health?
Again, there is people, they think that aging is associated with diseases. This is number one. And aging, you know, is associated with decreasing, you know, decrease or suppression in the immunity. And this is not true, because there is no relation between aging and having the disease. If we see some young people, they would have high blood pressure, and you could see an old man, 90 years old, and he has no diseases. So here, what is the secret? This is number one. We need to go deeper into this. Having an inspired life and not having inspired, and, you know, suffering from chronic stress is the main reason to me. Number two could be, as you mentioned, Mrs. Tanvi, a person or an old person going to the gym and suddenly he would like have a heart attack and sudden death is there, even though he's like you know, taking and preserving this the healthy and balanced food.
Yes.
Because we don't know what's going inside him. There is stress inside him, and people think living in this way, like many people live in this way, and they think this is normal because they got used to it. The parenting playing important role in this. Nurture. We need to go back to the nurture and understand what's really responsibility of the parents, and how to establish the, you know, the healthy mind. So we'll have a healthy lifestyle and healthy body. This is number one. Now what's going inside that person or many people, it's like because of the, you know, of the conflict between heart and brain. They have like very negative talk about themselves, number one, which is reflected on the others, you know, on, you know, all people around them, environment and life. So that is the real cause of the sudden death. Even though if you follow what is known as a healthy lifestyle, and even though if you meditate, putting candle and, you know, listen to music, this is the, you know, even what I say now, it's like even for meditation, when they say it's very important as part of the, you know, as a principle of healthy lifestyle, still everyone is meditating in his highest value. And that is at the theta wave in the brain. When you practice your highest value, like artist, he's meditating when he paints. It's not necessary to have this candle and, you know, listen to music. This is a way of meditation of people who have a spiritual highest value. But now even the doctor meditate when his highest value is to the patients. He meditates. Yeah. So everyone is meditating his highest value. So all this really starts from understanding your message, understanding your purpose in life, and then the talk will be changed. It will be about yourself, inside yourself. So it will be, it's like, you know, more inspiring about yourself and about what you're going to do, and about forgiveness and loving people and giving people and enjoying with people and having, you know, activating the unconditional love. So we talk about unconditional love, unfortunately, but we don't understand what's the meaning of unconditional love. Even worldwide, they talk about unconditional love, but the way we were raised is conditional love. If we do this, people love us. Unconditional love, whatever you do, I love you. I love because I love your spirit. That's why.
I was actually listening to a podcast recently, and one of the things they were talking about was love. And they said that, we fall in love, or it's not love, it's like we are infatuated with, when we are infatuated with another person, we don't really love ourselves. We are loving them because they are, you want to do what they are doing in order to be
Yes,
liked.
attachment. Yes,
Attachment.
yes,
But
yes.
once you actually start loving yourself and you actually love yourself, that's the time you actually love another person unconditionally.
It will be balanced love.
Balanced love, yeah,
Yes,
because
thank you. True.
you're putting yourself as a priority in there as well, in the relationship or whatever kind of love that you're putting out. And everything, as we
Excellent.
said, that when we're talking about today, we talked about healing. Healing comes from practicing your highest value. Healing comes from within. So once you want to practice or have a healthy lifestyle, or healthy heart, or healthy mind, follow your purpose, discover your purpose, follow your purpose. That's what the message is all about.
I would add also,
Yes.
when you plan, so this for all people who are really suffering from the CHD, I would say you need to plan by imagining your spiritual future. Because some people, they plan, it's like program planning. It's not a real plan. It's not like they are not inspired by this plan. They need to imagine what they want to do out of the highest value. Because some people, they have highest value and they talk about different plan or goal. So you need to have this inspiring plan about your future at the present moment. Because that's what you have now, the present, not the past. Now you need to balance the past. It's not running away from past. It's like balancing all the events that causing the pain and suffer by understanding the positive out of negative and set yourself free from the past. Now, I could say like few points, like any patient or any of the audience suffer from the chronic stress, chronic disease, is to discover your highest value. Number one, you need to put goal, you write written goal out of this highest value and a strategic plan. There will be a brainstorm, a roadmap to achieve this future. And you need to balance your mind. Very important to balance the mind, because some people, they just gave us, even this iPhone, which I really now enjoying talking through this iPhone, which was actually, let's say, created and by the imagination of Steve Jobs. But Steve Jobs was suffering from colon cancer, because many people ask about this. I would say we are blessed because we understand mind. He couldn't manage his mind. He couldn't understand the benefit or the positive out of negative, all his stress, which actually, mostly what I understand from his story of his life, that this stress is because of the highest value. Because some people, they can create stress in the highest value. And it's very deep. If we don't understand that this is challenge for our improvement, this will create stress for us. Every challenge in highest value will move us forward.
Yeah, it's an opportunity. As I said, that all these things that we're talking about, if anybody who's live here would like to know more, we have help available. You can connect with us and we can guide you to the right people to understand your value, how you can discover it. As Doctor mentioned, also as you mentioned, Doctor, that how to create a roadmap to reach your target or goal, what goal you've set for yourself. So
Yes.
as I would like to say that it's always a pleasure talking to you, Doctor. For every conversations that we have elevate my knowledge to another level, and it gives me an opportunity to do more research and understand what we are talking about before we actually go on and do this live as well. So it is a very interesting field for me as well to do these live sessions with you, because of course, as I said, I am also practicing my value, and it gives me an opportunity to learn more and more. Again, thank you very much, Doctor, to be with us today, and I'm sure we'll have more conversations. If anything you'd like to add here, Doctor, it'll be a pleasure.
Yeah, I would like to thank you, Mrs. Tenvi, for this amazing interview and what you're really giving us in this important message Thank you very much for your inspiration, and I appreciate your cooperation.
Thank you very much, Doctor.